What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into HPU Sports Talk. My name is Danny Shea, joined by Ava Sames, as always. We apologize about the hiatus for being gone for a little while, but we are back. We are better than ever. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
There's been a lot going on.
Last time we were here, the Cobain Center wasn't even open yet. Now we have a full season of basketball pretty much underneath our belt already, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's just dive right into it.
Definitely.
Men's basketball team. A little bit of a skid right now, 4-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Past 3 games obviously have been close with the Radford loss on Saturday, the Longwood loss, which was on ESPNU on Thursday night, and the prior Longwood game before that. Zach Austin is a beast and
What a freshman.
Absolutely setting the record. Most Big South freshman of the week honors with 7 this year. He's averaging 14.3 points a game, 7.8 rebounds a game, and 1.5 assists a game. They're at A&T Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, but this men's team has had a lot to deal with this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tubby Smith getting COVID, then stepping down as head coach. Associate coach Gigi Smith, his son, taking over. What are your thoughts on the basketball team this year, Eva?
So, obviously, they've had not a great record.
Yeah.
They're a losing record in both conference play and overall. They're 11-17 overall and 5-9 in the conference. And, you know, a lot of this can be attributed to just not finishing their games.
Yeah, agreed.
They play so well in the first half, and most of their games they're up at halftime, and they're winning by at least 2, sometimes 8, sometimes 12 at halftime, and they just can't finish. They can't also shoot their free throws. Now, recently, these past 3 games, their free throws percentage has been up tremendously, but beginning of the season when they were losing a lot, they really just couldn't shoot at the line.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the struggles at the free throw line. That's been a story all year long. We've seen Manny struggle at the line, Emmanuel Zudabor. We've seen Alex Holt struggle a little bit at the line. One player that has not really struggled a lot is John Michael Wright, shining as always, especially in the Thursday night game, which I want to get into right now.
Yeah.
ESPNU, national television, the pregame party in the conference center. The Cobain Center was
Fantastic.
rocking. The
Everyone
corner
got
was
free
rocking. The
t-shirts.
Cobain's corner was rocking as always. What were your? I know you were at the game Thursday night. What were your thoughts on the atmosphere? It finally felt like, not that it hasn't felt like a college atmosphere all year long, but it had a little bit of an added buzz to it that you see at most college games.
So I've gotten many opportunities to speak to John Michael after the games, and he says every single time whenever there's a big crowd like that, they're always amped up. The feeling is electric. They know that they're going to show out for the people that come, and he's said it multiple times that atmosphere really does mean a lot to them. And seeing that atmosphere, and it was the largest amount of people that have ever attended a basketball game or that have ever been in the Cobain Center since it opened just at the beginning of the season, with over 5,000 people, which is crazy. There was at least 200 people in the standing room alone because they've had filled every single seat that they possibly could, and that really attributes to the Cobain Center and to how amazing it looks. I mean, the arena is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful in every single corner. They did a fantastic job on it. Now we just really need to show up and win some games, and I think that winning more and more will create the better atmosphere that these players are looking for.
Yeah, you mentioned the difference on what a home game means to a team, especially when they have the crowd behind them. It shows in their record this year too. They're 9-6 in the Cobain Center this year.
Exactly.
They have a winning record at home, not so much on the road though, as they're 2-10 on the road. But I want to talk about their recent stretches of games. I alluded to it before with the 2 games against Longwood and the game against Radford, specifically the Radford game here. 66-64 defeat by Radford, down big. Radford opening up the game with a 13-1 run, but High Point clawed back. Zach Austin leading the scoring again for this team. What did you see Saturday from this team? It hurts every time because they come all the way
there.
Exactly. They come all the way back, down big early. They're up at halftime, and then they find a way to break your heart again.
They always find a way to claw back, and everyone that 2 to 4 to 6 points that they're up, and then you feel it, you can see it coming, and then they go on a 6-shot streak of misses.
Yeah.
And they just miss their 3-pointers. They just miss a jumper. They miss a free throw, and then all of a sudden they're down by 10 again, and then the game's over because they don't have that momentum that they had to pick back up. They get these little spurts when they're down like that, and it only happens one a game when they are able to claw back up and take everything back. But they can't do it twice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gigi said it after the game. He said, in quote, "Another close game for us. I thought our guys lost the game in the first 5 minutes. I did not think we were ready to play. We went down 13-1 to start the game, and when you're down that much, it makes it hard to come back." So that's for any team, though. You go down big early, it's always going to be tough to come back. You got to be proud of the effort, though, by the boys to come back, claw their way back into the game. But let's transfer it to a team, another basketball team of ours.
I love these girls.
That's been winning a little bit here recently. They started off the year a little shaky.
Yeah.
Non-conference play kind of beat them up a little bit, but the High Point Lady Panthers, the women's basketball team, now 14-12, 11-4 in the Big South. Now make it 12-4 after a win tonight against Winthrop, a 58-42 final. Callie Shire, Jensen Edwards, Jordan Edwards, all tied for 12 points tonight, leading the Panthers in scoring. What'd you see from them tonight?
I was here, so I had to watch on my computer a little bit. I didn't get the full game. I didn't get the full atmosphere. But these girls are so good. They work so hard in practice. They work so hard in the games. And, it's really hard when your leading scorer, Skylar Curran, gets hurt.
Yeah.
And she is such an important role for this team. She takes on such an important leadership role. And without her out on the court, we saw them struggle when she did go down and get hurt. And it was really, really hard for them. And now I think they realize that, okay, we can do it without her. We have plenty of amazing girls. They are so good, and they work so hard. And, their coach has the most faith in them than I've ever seen in a coach ever. She saw Skylar go down, and she was like, "We're good. We're fine. We have a bench full of amazing women that can really get this done."
Yeah, you mentioned the bench. Strong depth for the women's team on the bench this year. We knew one of those pieces, Callie Shire, was going to be big off the bench for them this season anyway, but then gets transitioned into that starting role. She started a lot of the games since Skylar has gone down. Leads the team in scoring tonight with 12. I want to mention something about this game, though.
Sure.
Panthers go up 17-6 after the first quarter.
Yeah.
Good quarter, good defensive game from the Panthers. Then they give up 18 points to their 7 in the second quarter. So a little shaky defensive effort, but then the Panthers locked it down 15-8 in the third, and then they outscore them 19-10 in the fourth. But Callie's played really well this year, shot the ball really well all year, pretty consistently for the Panthers too. What have you seen from her all season?
She is one of those girls that you originally look at her on the bench and you're like, all right, if any of my starters need 20 minutes, like she can come in for those 20 minutes and really show up and put out what she needs to. But like you said, with Skylar out, like she was put into that role, and she has only excelled from there. She has only done nothing but make her shots. You can see her communicating with the girls on the court. Also, she is taking a small part of that leadership role, and especially with Skylar out, they're all kind of working together more to take on the leadership that she had. But she especially really knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. She makes almost all of her shots. She has a fantastic shooting percentage. I don't have it up.
Yeah, she's 35% from three this season, averaging 8 points a game. But even though 8's not the biggest number of all time, she scores when you need her to score.
Exactly.
She can always find the bottom of the basket when you need her to. So good effort, from the Panthers tonight. Their final game of the year in the Cobain Center is this Wednesday, 7 o'clock, UNC Asheville. Big one. 1.5 back of first place in the Big South, so the Panthers
that was before tonight.
Yes, so the Panthers need all the help they can get, and that'll definitely help on Wednesday night. They could pick up a win against a good UNC Asheville team.
Yeah.
Let's transition it now to the lacrosse field.
Yeah.
Our men's lacrosse team. 3 tough games, I'd say, to start the year so far. They play the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the country in Virginia and Maryland. They kind of flip-flop places, though. We played Maryland when they were the number 2 team. They're now the number 1 team.
Yeah, exactly.
Played Virginia when they were the number 1 team. They're now the number 2 team.
Yeah.
So 21-13 loss against Maryland. They come back home to Vert. They win 11-10 against Colgate in overtime. An overtime goal from Asher Knowlton. We'll talk about that game in a second.
Yeah.
And then Virginia. This is like the 3rd year in a row they've lost to 1, but they've lost by 1 to Virginia in Virginia.
Yeah.
Why can't they beat Virginia? I don't understand it.
I don't understand, because they are always so close, and we're always winning at some point, and you feel the intensity, and you can genuinely feel it from the stands, and you're watching on your computer, and these guys want it so bad, and they have these amazing players like Asher Knowlton, which I want you to talk about in a minute, because I'm so happy he came back. He's a 5th year, and
big time.
he he really shows up in these games. What do you see from him?
I mean, you see exactly what you want to see from him. The Colgate game, I mean, they put the toothpaste team. I mean, come on, out here, the team, they're called Colgate. You knew when you needed somebody big to step up in an overtime game like that, you expect a guy like Asher to step up. And what does he do? He scores the game winner. And so it's just stuff like that you always expect from your star players, and he's always able to deliver when you need him to. That's what a star player does. The game against Virginia, he had 3 assists in, so he's now 18th all-time for most assists in NCAA history with 160. He's 73 away from the NCAA all-time assist leader. 73 assists in a season might be a little ridiculous here to think about, but the fact he's even that close to first all-time in a big category like that is crazy. But this Virginia game, it's not only the fact that they lose to Virginia by like 1 or 2 goals. They're always like a top 2-3 team in the country when we play them. They're number 1 this time, but it's so frustrating because you play a game like Virginia, the Maryland game, excuse me. Yeah, the scoreboard doesn't reflect it, but they had a good effort in that game.
They did.
They played really well. Parker Green making big saves when needed. He made them against Virginia. He made them against Colgate. He makes them all the time.
He makes them every time he needs to.
But I want to talk about another player. Brendan Maeda.
Oh, the sophomore.
SoCon Offensive Player of the Week, the first week of the season. This dude's a beast. Did you see his behind the back goal that he scored against Colgate? Speaking of the toothpaste team.
Of course I did. It was all over Twitter.
It was all over the place. It was all over SportsCenter. Our boy Wendell, who's not here tonight, unfortunately, but he had an epic call as per usual. The goal call. Oh my God, soccer season. I miss soccer season. I miss his angelic goal calls. But he had a good call the other night. That was all over the internet. So shout out Wendell. We'll see him back here very soon. But Brandon Maeda is lighting it up. What are you seeing from him?
He was a freshman last year. He's a sophomore this year. And for someone to step up like that, you see him become such an important and key player on this team. And you look around to everybody else and you see some juniors or seniors even, that kind of are looking towards him. And you see him kind of controlling the offense at times. And he fits in so well with this team. And everyone kind of, this is why they do so well, is because they really do bounce off each other. And him in that offensive position has strengthened their offense. And I think the more that they continue to use him and the more that they continue to keep him on as a leader, not only as a player, as an offensive player, as a sophomore, but as a leader, the more that this team is going to grow and to win these number 1 Virginia games.
Yeah, you need a guy like him to step up, and he absolutely has so far. 9 points on the season so far in just 3 games with 8 goals and 1 assist. So Brandon Maeda, another force to be reckoned with on this stacked men's lacrosse team. They're back in action on Saturday, I believe, right? Against Navy.
Navy.
Another tough one, another nationally televised game for the boys. So definitely check that out.
Definitely tune that in. If you don't have ESPN Plus, you can watch that anyway.
Is it on ESPN Plus?
I don't think so.
I think it's on Big Ten Network.
Yeah, it is.
No, it is on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, it is.
So definitely check in to them there. Let's switch it to the other team now, the women's lacrosse team. Tough game against Duke back at home this weekend. 22-13 loss. But when you play a top team in the country, we just mentioned it with the men's team. You got to love a spirited effort like that. And they absolutely had that at Vert Stadium this weekend.
They had them in the first half.
They did.
They had them. I was sitting there and I'm watching this match and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're about to beat Duke. This is going to be a fantastic win. This is exactly what they needed after their first loss against Davidson, and they just lost it.
Yeah, it's okay. Listen.
And you know what? It happens, and something doesn't click in the second half. You go inside and you talk it out, but sometimes that makes it worse.
Yeah.
And you didn't feed off of each other, or I don't even know what happened, but it didn't click for them in the second half. And the first half they killed it, and they were winning that game.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was not in attendance on Sunday, but listen, I'm the giveaway guru here. I heard this beanie that they gave out on Sunday was so nice. I'm sure Wendell probably has like 7 of them.
Wendell probably has 7.
He probably has like 7 of them.
I got there late. I didn't get one. So I'm
fortunate.
I'm very disappointed about it. I'm looking for all the giveaways that I can get. Also.
Yeah, of course, you have to. But
I mean, basketball game, I got 2 shirts.
I have about like 7 of them, but I mean, come on, I catch them all the time. The little basketballs that they throw too. Come on now.
No, I start giving those away.
Yeah, literally. Literally, you should keep them. They're awesome. But
I have too many.
back to the women's lacrosse team,
definitely.
though. I know we were talking before. You mentioned 2 players that you were really looking at this season. Who were the? I said save it for the show. Who do you got?
Abby Holmes and Jenna Kraft. I am obsessed with these girls. They have so much to offer this team. I mean, Abby is a preseason offensive player of the year, and they're both preseason all-conference team. And Abby has 98 points. She has 16 caused turnovers and 32 ground balls just last season. This is her 5th year here. She brings a lot to the table, and they really do need her. And I've been saying it this entire episode. I'm tired of saying it, but she is the biggest leader of this team.
Yeah.
And everyone looks to her. Every single stopped play, everything, everyone turns and stares at her because she is so important and so vital to this team.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's kind of an Asher situation on the women's team this time. A 5th-year player coming back, a leading scorer. You mentioned 98 points last season alone. We were talking about her all season last year. I remember sitting at this very spot talking about Abby Holmes. So stud, absolute stud.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what she can do for us this season.
Back.
They're up this Saturday again, JMU at noon. So definitely tune in.
Yeah.
Favorite to win the Big South this year are the women team. So listen, we'll see.
Listen, they were favored last year, and they were favored the year before that, and they're favored this year.
Listen,
and
just get to the NCAA tournament. We want to be title town again.
Sometimes they prove it, and sometimes they don't. And I see it this year.
I hope so. I really hope so. I hope honestly every team wins the title this year.
Oh,
obviously.
Obviously.
Come on. We are title town.
I'm not sure we're going to see it out of the men's basketball team.
You never know. You never know.
No, you don't know.
You never know.
I am very hopeful we see it in both men's and women's lacrosse and in women's basketball. And I think that Titletown could be coming back.
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, you mentioned the women's basketball team come Big South time. They've absolutely torn it up in the Big South this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we were saying it before the season started. We were saying they might not do the best come non-conference play,
absolutely.
but they're going to eat when the Big South conference starts. Yeah, so exactly.
Same exact thing.
Let's transition it to another team now that started their season this past weekend.
Yeah.
In Jacksonville, the men's baseball team opening up their season this weekend with a 3-game set in Jacksonville. Tough weekend, taking a 6-3 defeat on Friday, a 17-9 defeat on Saturday, and a tough 5-3 defeat on Sunday. They don't host. They actually go to. I'm so at schools. Come on, it's that time of year. It's midterms. You guys got to give me a break. I'm sorry.
They head to Raleigh at 3 o'clock on tomorrow, actually.
A tough test for this team, though. Yeah. Number 7 team in the country. A lot of returning players for the men's baseball team this year. Can't wait for them to get back here against Toledo this weekend. Hopefully, I'll be in the booth for some of them this year.
Yeah.
That could be a possibility.
I can't wait to hear some home run calls then.
Well, we had a broadcasting session earlier upstairs, to just go over some things and stuff like that. And they made me do like a mock call, whatever. And of course, they gave me the situation where there's a home run.
Oh my gosh!
So of course, I had to give them.
No,
it was just solo home run. It was first inning. It was a solo home run. But yeah. So if you guys are watching, watch the baseball broadcast this year.
Maybe you can hear Danny on there.
Oh my God! Imagine.
That'd be fun. So they traveled to Jacksonville this past weekend.
They did.
They had a really tough weekend.
They did have a tough weekend.
And it's hard to watch them do this. They had a couple of pitching mishaps and whatnot. I actually have a good friend of mine who attends Jacksonville, and I was texting her during the games. I was like, hey, can you go to these for me? And she was at them. She was like, yeah, they're pitching. They're hanging a lot of curveballs, and you can't be doing that.
No.
You can't be hanging curveballs, and you can't be throwing fastballs straight down the middle right after that.
Obviously not a start you want to have to a season getting swept to start the year, and especially when you're coming back to a tough team like NC State. They're playing a couple tough teams this year, honestly. They got NC State.
Lineup.
They got NC State, then they come back for a series against Toledo. Toledo's a very good team, returning coach.
They got VT coming up, too.
Virginia Tech, Pitt, Kentucky, West Virginia,
And
then they
we
get into the
start
Big South play. But this team is going to have a little bit of a tough stretch. I kind of compare it to the women's basketball team and the men, even the men's basketball team. The non-conference schedules, they're going to see some tough teams. They're going to see some really tough teams. We saw the men's basketball team obviously see Kentucky, Michigan State.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a little tough for the boys to start off the year, but come Big South time, oh my God, I really can't speak tonight.
Midterms. They're getting you.
They're getting me so good. They're getting me so good.
But it's hard to gauge after a 3-game stretch like this. And then, I mean, to turn around, Sunday was yesterday, and they're playing tomorrow. Literally. And they had really, really rough weekend. But you know what? I think that if they kind of get their hitting together, maybe try not to get caught stealing bases.
Yeah, I mean that's the key to any team. But it's very early, so we'll see where they go. From here, tough test, like we said, NC State tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern. It'll be Terry Merritt for the Panthers and Logan Adams for NC State. Wow, North Carolina. I am so midterms.
Yeah.
I'm blaming midterms.
Okay, blame midterms. I'll blame midterms too.
Social ethics, not a fun class. What? Logan Adams for NC State, Teddy Merritt for the Panthers, 3 o'clock tomorrow, and number 7, NC State. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of HPU Sports Talk. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, we apologize about the hiatus, but we'll be back on a bi-weekly basis. So right after this episode, you're going to have to wait a week, unfortunately. We know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
Listen, we know we're a fantastic show. No, I'm just kidding. But every other week, so definitely catch us back here in 2 weeks. For Ava Sames, my name is Danny Shea. Let's go Panthers, and we'll see you next time.